I was recently invited to an event that allowed me to look at upcoming DLC content called Turning Tides for Battlefield 1, and as such this video is technically sponsored. In this video I'm going to go through the new DLC weapons that you can expect to see in Turning Tides, but bear in mind that this is all in early development, so expect some of this stuff to change before the full release. Let's kick things off with the two new assault weapons. Starting with the M12P16, you can see the reload animations and the way it fires in the background here. I've done this with all the weapons and then I've got a bit of gameplay with it. We didn't have a huge amount of time, but I think I've managed to capture what the gun's all about and what it looks like. The M12P16 is an Austrian pistol and was produced from 1911 to 1918. It's apparently a very rare weapon to fire or even see these days, which makes it even more interesting to have in the game. The weapon fires 9mm rounds, storing 16 shots with a real-life rate of fire of 1,200 rounds per minute. In game, the weapon is a complete beast within close quarters and has little to no effect at range. You can see from the gameplay in the background that against planes it will do around 10 damage a magazine, similar to the Automatico, but I think a little more extreme. Next up we have the C96 Trench. This weapon is known as the Mauser M1917 Trench Carbine and has a 40-shot detachable magazine. The weapon was produced late into World War I and is not really a gun that I enjoyed all that much in the short time that I used it in game. I feel as if other weapons offer far more, however I think it takes a certain playstyle to get the most out of it, and I just didn't have enough time to find it. On to the medic weapons. Now we had two here, the Farquhar-Hill Range and the Farquhar-Hill Stability. Whether they'll be called this in the final build of the game I'm not too sure, but they both had something special about them. The Farquhar-Hill was one of the first automatic rifles designed in the early 20th century and fires 7.7mm caliber rounds from a 20 round drum magazine. As you can see from the gameplay footage, this weapon is a load of fun and looks absolutely fantastic. The detail that DICE have put into this weapon model is brilliant, and I especially love the reload. You can definitely tell the difference between reloading when you have used all your bullets and when you've only used a certain amount. The range and stability obviously have the difference in scopes. The range, you can shoot at range, and the stability is more for close quarters. On these new maps it was definitely obvious which one you should be using. For me, I preferred the range because there were lots of opportunities to shoot people at range, and the stability was better for in the trenches. I think they'd be a weapon that I'd use instead of the auto-loading 8 as they've got more bullets in the magazine, and it might be better for a map such as Argonne Forest if I was wanting to get more rounds off in a short space of time. Next up we have the support weapons. These were my favourite weapons from the little test that we did. The Browning M1917 came in two variants, one without the scope on and the other one known as the telescopic. What a beast! The Browning M1917 is probably one of my favourite weapons on the game and is a machine when it comes to taking down groups of enemies or air vehicles. You have two options, the telescopic or the stability, and both excel at different things. The telescopic is obviously better at range due to the scope, and the other is more effective at close range situations. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on this weapon as it's one of my all-time favourite weapons from Battlefield 1. I hope they don't change a huge amount about it, but there are a couple of things I guess that they could change just to make it maybe slightly more balanced. There were a few situations where I felt that it was just really, really good, especially against groups of enemies, and especially with the 250 round magazine. You can do some mega damage against air vehicles, which I don't think you'd really notice until you had maybe 10 people on one team using it and just taking planes out of the sky for fun. Finally, we had two new scout weapons, the Arisaka and the Carcano. The Arisaka was a weapon used by the British Navy and Russian Army during World War I, and then went on to be used in World War II in places such as China, Thailand and Cambodia. The Carcano, another new sniper in the scout class, is an Italian bolt-action magazine-fed rifle and was a replacement for the Vitali rifle, and we've seen that before introduced in a previous DLC. I didn't use it much in the game, and without a scope it was never going to be a weapon that I'd use much. However, it is clear to see that the weapon model is fantastic. I've tried my best to show you all the different types of reloads that you can get with this gun because I know that a lot of people like to see it. The detail that DICE put in is just fantastic, and although this is an early build of the game, you can see that the weapon models are up to the usual standard. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below and keep your eye out for more videos on this new upcoming Turning Tides DLC. I'll be pumping out as many as I can for your guys' enjoyment. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.